There might be a problem with my custom figs. Well, maybe. Let me explain. Many of my channel fans would know all about Jally. And after that, I said I'm going to improve it with Jally. And that said, I'm going to improve it with Robo Lofty. And then I said we're going to improve that with what we have now, Mohawk. But let me be completely honest with you. I am not 100% sure if I actually am improving. And maybe the best custom figure ever was Jally. So I decided to host a Lofty Olympics to see which Lofty fig should take the top. So without further ado, let's get started. How am I going to win the Olympics? Well, I'm going to have 7 games. I call them the Crash 7. I won't make the figures go up against each other in like a stop motion battle. I will make them go up against each other in a battle to see who is the best character for stop motion animation. With that said, let's start with the first of the Crash 7, which is the design. For each Crash 7, I'll give 3 points for who takes the top, 2 points for who comes second, 1 point for who comes third, and no points for the 4th one that didn't make it. I was about to give the win to Mohawk because I think he has the best Lofty design since he uses cardboard. But then I thought about Robo Lofty. Since he best resembles a robot, I decided to give him the top spot. Mohawk gets second though. It was tough deciding which one deserves to be taking the 3rd spot, and I think it has to be Jally because he doesn't have that terrifying face. Next, we're going to look at the facial expressions. Unfortunately, Robo Lofty has to go at the bottom because he can only make an angry face. Yeah, sorry, Robo Lofty. 3rd place has to go to Jally because his expressions aren't really that efficient. And there's a bunch of pieces that I have to keep track of. I was about to give the gold to Mohawk, but he cannot look left or right as well as blink. Unlike Jally, who I'm giving the gold because both mouth and eyes are double-sided. Now we have the easiest of them all, the joints. Last place has to go to Jally because most of the time when I'm bending, the arm can sometimes pop out like that. 3rd place has to go to Jally because he has no kneecaps at all. 2nd place has to go to Robo Lofty. But overall, I think the 1st place has to go to Mohawk because of the way his joints can be able to bend almost all the way in, thanks to the use of bracket pieces. Now, we're going to start on with the animations. But before we get right into the animations, I want to tell you the points so far. In last place, we have Jally with 2 points. 3rd place, we have Jally with 4 points. Robo Lofty is second with 5 points. And Mohawk with 7 points. The first animation we're going to be looking at is first, lip sync. Lip syncing is something that I wanted to master. I unfortunately cannot do that with the Legos that I use to animate, which is what got me into Loft Studios, because his characters can be able to lip sync. I'm going to grade this off of the execution as well as how easy it was to animate. Also, to make things fair, I'm going to make each characters say the exact same thing. Well, except for Robo Lofty, who goes at the bottom of the barrel again. Look, I'm trying to make this as fair as possible, okay? First, I pulled up Stop Motion Studio Pro, which is the app that I use to do my stop motion animations. In fact, it's used to do the stop motion animations that I do today. I already talked about it a few times on my channel, but if you really want an in-depth tutorial, I am planning on making a complete guide to stop motion animation. I use tiles with 1 point of articulation on top to help the figure stand. I'm now going to turn the settings on to manual and access some other features like filters and how close will the camera be to the Lofty figure. And with that said, let me show you the results. Crash motion animation. Crash motion animation. Crash motion animation. Well, that was something. I promise this is the last one where it will be unfair for Robo Lofty. I'm gonna give a third place to Jerry because the way I animate his face with these smooth tiles is very, very hard to replace, making it very easy to make him move a lot. It was really tough to decide between Jally and Mohawk. Mohawk's was the easiest, was the most cleanest, but I think Jally was the most easiest. I feel like that, overall, I'm going to give Mohawk the win again. Now we're going to move on to some basic animation. To start off, we're going to do a simple walk. In my opinion, the walk has to be the most efficient since it is like the most essential way on how a character will be traveling. So, here are the results. Oh, they all look good. I use these Lego pieces to indicate where the character would step, which would, in my theory, be fair for every single one, but it can actually be challenging. Since they all look good, I'm gonna rank them off based by how easy it was to animate. And in last place I have to give to Jally, and that's because it was hard to balance him, because he is a lot top heavy than bottom heavy. In fact, if I stood them all up and glue on them, all the custom figures up and just glue on them, Jally would be probably the first one to be knocked out because he is too top heavy. Robo Lofty has to probably come after, and that's because it was really hard to control each leg piece. In fact, I almost damaged this one since it is half hollow. It was really tough to decide between the oldest, Jerry, and the newest Mohawk. And I think I have to give it to Mohawk again, but Jerry was very close. The only difference is that Jerry does not have really any knees. Well, he does, but it's very short. Well, Mohawk does. So, Jerry will come in second, and Mohawk, I'm gonna give the gold. Now, quick question. Why did I name my channel Crash Motion Animation? I feel like I'm gonna get asked this question, but I'm going to answer it before you guys type. So, you see, I want it to be based around, like, stop motion, and be named after, like, a company, like, Aardman Animation. So, like, something motion animations. And I want my stop motion animations to go around two genres. Comedy, but the most important, action. And when I think of action, I think of Crash. And that's where the name Crash Motion Animation came to my head. So if you guys didn't find out already, next up is a fight. However, instead of making the Lofty characters go up against each other, I'm going to make each one go up against a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Why? I was working on a Jurassic World animation that involved a T-Rex. And my original plan for a sequel was for a Lofty character to fight a T-Rex, but I never had a chance to finish it. So, I decided to make all of them fight a T-Rex. And to make the fight fair, I'm going to make them each do the same thing. Stand in this position, okay? I'm going to back up a bit. They are going to punch, rotate, kick, arm lock around the neck, and then throw. That's what I'm going to do for each and every single character. I then slapped on some angry faces because they will be fighting except for Robo Lofty, who already has an angry face. And here are the results. I'll give a tutorial on the punch effect in the future, but for now, I feel like from all of them, the worst has to go to Jolly's, because, you know, Mr. Top Heavy. It's really hard to decide, but I think Robo Lofty has to come right after, only because I don't think his punch was that effective, unlike his kick. Again, it's going to be between the Newcomer Mohawk and the oldie Jally. And again, I think I have to give it to Mohawk for first and Jally for second. That leaves us with one last Crash 7. Jumping. Jumping can be very common in some of my stop motion animations, specifically my animation series, Alvin Adventures. In fact, I did make a tutorial on how I make my minifigs jump. And to do that, I built a rig. However, it's a bit old, so I recently upgraded it by replacing the long, thick Lego piece with several Lego ball and socket joints. The end has studs that can be able to connect to any Lego piece. And surprisingly, each and every Lofty fig that I have has a Lego piece anywhere on its body, either on the leg, head, or hip. I'm going to try my best on making every single Lofty fig jump as equal as possible. And I'm going to do like a quick reference, similar to the fight. I'm going to make him swing his arms up slightly. Then when they come back down, I'm going to bend my knee slightly. Then when he raises his hands up, my feet are going to swing up. And he jumps. And when I land, the second I land, I bring my arms back down. Oh, and by the way, the rig can be able to hold every single Lofty fig. I already tried. And here are the results. Because of his height, I think I have to give last place to Jally again because of how big he is. I'm gonna give Jerry third place, but he wasn't that far from being last place. From between Mohawk and Robo Lofty, it's gonna be very tricky, but I think the win has to go to Robo Lofty for this once. And with that said, the Lofty Olympics is over. Now to tally up the points. In last place, with a total of 7 points, we have Jally. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I might have created a custom Lofty fig that is worse than Squirt Lofty. His quality is getting worse, which is why he deserves to be at the bottom, with 7 points. In third place, with 8 points, just barely missing the bottom, we have Jerry, the OG original, getting bronze at 8 points. He was actually not as bad as I expected him to actually be. In second place, with the runner-up position, we have Robo Lofty with 9 points. I honestly thought this figure was going to be a bigger hit. In fact, I thought he was going to dominate the number 1 spot. Speaking of number 1, the number 1 spot belongs to the Newcomer Mohawk. And with that said, this is the Lofty Olympics. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. We are almost at 300 subscribers. The first person to comment how many points Mohawk got, I will pin their comment. Subscribe for more crazy animations. My name is Zach. Thank you guys so much for watching.